Huge news for the Auburn Tigers. Sam Turner flips to Auburn.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zach Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. We are joined by Phillip Dukes the Scoop on socials. Of course, he is the man over at On3. Check out his show, The 5-Star Flex. I want to get your thoughts on Deuce Knight. We haven't talked on camera since Deuce Knight committed, as well as the latest with some other key guys. But Sam Turner flipping from Georgia Tech to Auburn. It seems like this has been, we've been waiting on this for forever. It finally happens. This dude can play. I don't care that he's just a 3-star.
Absolutely. Like, no, Sam is one, and I've said it so much that Sam is one of the guys who kind of, due to his loyalty to his school, going to Southwest DeKalb and staying there, whereas where he started at, where he had the opportunity to go to any of the major powerhouses and get seen a lot more than he's been seen in Southwest. But he chose to stay where he was, and I think that his loyalty kind of maybe hurt him with the rankings a little bit, where he hasn't had that visibility. I mean, Sam is a baller. Like, he comes from the same, I've said it ad nauseum, he comes from the same program as Jalen Crawford, who's starting as a corner, same program as Cam Lee, Hustle Link, which is the big 707 program. And if you go ask those guys if Sam Turner can play, they're going to tell you neither two. Both now, is it not funny that the two starting corners for Hustle Link 2 years ago are now starting at Auburn? So, I mean, when you look at that program, KJ Bolden on that team, KJ Bolden was the safety. Sam Turner is not is nobody's slouch. He plays with the best. Everybody knows who he is. In Atlanta, he has a huge reputation. And that's part of the reason why Georgia Tech was in school, because of what Sam Turner means to Atlanta. But as far as what it also does for you, as far as helping you recruit in Atlanta, this is a huge signing, because he's one of the most well-respected guys, because he does it right on and off the field. He's the type of kid that, if you have a son playing youth football, you want him to be like Sam. He's not doing a lot of taunting. He goes out and handles his business. You don't see him. He never gets in any trouble. He's around the right people, and he's a leader more than anything. And so, I think it's a huge flip and a great get, and a personification of an Auburn man.
Yeah. So at On3, y'all have him listed at 6'3", 190. What kind of receiver is he at the next level in your mind, Dukes?
Go up and get it. Another long guy. He may not have the acceleration of some of the other top prospects as far as, but he's just a ball player. When you talk about knowing how to do everything right, I think his package kind of looks like, when we talk about what he has as far as tools, you can see him as a slimmer, maybe more fluid version of a Camden Brown, a little bit taller. But Camden, like, when you look at how Cam has earned his way back on the field this year, he basically he blocks well, he runs, he's where he's supposed to be, and he's not dropping the ball. And I think that's what Sam Turner gives you, with more athleticism. So I think his ceiling is as high as it wants it to be. I could see I could see a lot of Seth Williams in this game, as far as, like, where he does everything well. There's never one plus attribute, that he's the guy who has the size, he has the speed, he has the ability, he has the want to, and I think that he's definitely going to outplay his ranking.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, you look at any tape of this guy, whatever he puts out on socials or his huddle, like, the guys that he's burning are dudes playing at the highest level of high school football in the Southeast. I mean, the high school football around Atlanta, I mean, it's elite. It's elite. And so, like, I don't care what your ranking is. If you're able to beat the best consistently, whatever. And it's not like he's some small, undersized guy where, like, his frame doesn't translate to the next level. This guy seems to be a complete receiver, just maybe not playing for one of these powerhouses. So, big fan of what Sam brings to this Auburn class. The timing of this is interesting. We've been expecting Sam Turner to flip for a long time, Dukes. Auburn gets their quarterback. Deuce Knight joins, and then Sam Turner flips. I mean, do you think that's a coincidence, or do you think this is just kind of how this Auburn coaching staff wants the news to slowly trickle out?
No, it's not a coincidence. I think I think they wanted to make sure that Deuce was going to be in the class. That was a big sell for him, knowing that he was going to have a quarterback that he could grow with, a quarterback that he has a good relationship with. And I think, that was a huge part of it is Deuce actually going ahead and saying, all right, I'm an Auburn Tiger going forward. Now you start to think about how do you want to fill in the rest of that class. You get your big-bodied receiver. I think that he's a take, even if let's say Caleb Cunningham visits and likes Auburn, you still take Sam Turner, even if Caleb Cunningham comes. And then you look around your wide receiver room, you have one of the deepest wide receiver rooms in the country, right? Yeah. So I think with Sam Turner, his pledge, you don't have to get Caleb Cunningham. You've got a big-bodied receiver in that next class. Now you can go get another small, speedy guy if you want to. The guy who's committed to Miami that's in Alabama, I forget his name. Sheesh. I'm gonna find his name and come back to it. But there's a guy, Upshaw.
Oh yeah, Dalen, right?
Yeah, Dalen Upshaw. You could take Dalen Upshaw and a Sam Turner because now you already have that big-bodied receiver. So I think.
Well, where does Derek Smith? I mean, the receiver that is committed to Auburn right now. Like, where does he fit in to this?
Same way Malcolm Simmons does. You find a way to give him the ball. Like he's that dynamic an athlete. He can play defense if he wanted to. Those are the type of guys that you get in the class and you figure out how to get them the ball, not how does he fit with us. Derek Smith, his athleticism is elite. It is elite, and he's one of the guys that Alabama's going to push for. I mean, like it or not, there are some guys that are in the state of Alabama that Alabama's not going to push for. Derek Smith is not one of those. He's one of the guys that makes any team that he gets better, and that's why his ranking matches his elite status. And I think when you look at having the athlete, the explosive guy, you got the Malcolm Simmons. Now you've got the big-bodied receiver in the Cam Coleman frame, maybe the Perry Thompson. You can add what you want. Do you want to go Caleb Cunningham? Do you want to go CJ Wiley? Like however you want to fill out the rest of that wide receiver room, you can.
Yeah. What do you think a realistic timeline or path to playing time is for Sam Turner? Because it's tricky, right? I mean, Auburn's stacking classes now where you're seeing a lot of these true freshmen get more and more playing time this year. But I mean, hopefully from the Auburn point of view, none of these guys leave. And so now all of a sudden he's behind several guys that are going to be true sophomores or redshirt freshmen, I guess, with Bryce Kane maybe. But I mean, what do you think the path to playing time is for Sam Turner once he gets here?
I think Sam Turner gonna force the issue. Just like Jalen Crawford, man. Nobody saw Jalen Crawford start. Things broke his way. And you just don't know how things will happen as far as, but one thing I do know is the work ethic is going to be there. Just like Jalen Crawford, he's a guy who's going to stack days. Got in there. He worked his butt off the whole time. He was the first one in, first one out. Whenever you hear anybody talk about Jalen Crawford, is usually he's in the right position. So, and he knows the playbook. And I think if he takes that, if he takes that mentality, which I'm pretty sure he will, he can play early. Like, he doesn't have to be a guy that has to wait because you got guys in front of you. If you noticed, Hugh's been in this offense, they're rotating receivers. Nobody is getting all the snaps. Like, even Lambert Smith comes out the game, and he shouldn't ever come out the game.
No, so I think the way he's playing, he should not.
He shouldn't. I mean, so at this point, I think there's a path to early playing time. It's just up to him and how well he digests the playbook in offense.
Yeah. Philip Dukes, our guest of the 5-Star Flex over at On3. I want to ask you in just a moment about Naim Offord. I mean, obviously, Auburn fans are super interested with him. And then obviously what Deuce Knight means for this class. That's coming up right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel's America's #1 sports book. You can start the NFL season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. When you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more, all on the same page where you place your bets. Get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place that first $5 bet. That's over at FanDuel.com. Today's show is also brought to you by our friends at Game Time. Game Time's the best place to buy tickets. It doesn't matter if it's for football, basketball, baseball, a concert, theater, a comedy show. It doesn't matter. Game Time, they've got a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. What time is it? It's game time. Phillip Dukes hanging out with us. You and I haven't spoken on screen anyway since Deuce Knight flipped from Notre Dame to Auburn. Another guy like Sam Turner. We've been talking about this for forever. It finally happens. What does this mean? What does this type of addition mean for Auburn?
It means that the battle cries went out as far as this is going to be the class that turns it around.
Okay.
Even with what's going on the field right now, they are literally separating. The recruiting thing is like, look, bro, we're here right now because we didn't have guys like you 3 years ago. And that's why we're here. So you come here with the guys that are coming with you, and now you've got the number 3, number 2 class in the nation. There is documented facts that say that when you recruit at this level, 2, 3, it shows up on the field as long as you guys stay together. Texas A&M, it didn't work. Those guys didn't stay together. 1 year, half of those guys were gone.
Right.
If a top-ranked recruiting class stays together, just think about it. It's just like matriculating. If I'm number 3, if you got the number 3 set of freshmen in ninth grade, as they get better, 10th, 11th, 12th, when they become seniors, they're literally the top of their class again. People grow usually at the same pace. If you're great in ninth grade, a lot of times, there's very few times that you see a guy who's highly ranked that just becomes trash. Like a lot of times, even if they aren't number 1 or number 2 anymore, they're still quality players and they still have that pedigree. And that's what they're selling at Auburn. And I think that's why you're seeing recruiting go in the way that it is, because guys want to be a part of something special. And I think they're doing a great job. But I cannot, there's nothing else I can say about the job that Auburn is doing off the field, because they are literally recruiting their butts off, especially being a 2-4 team and getting recruits to still flip.
Well, Dukes, there's a narrative that is really being pushed by Auburn fans as well as other fans, but you're hearing a lot of Auburn fans say, like, oh, if Auburn keeps losing, their class could fall apart. Do you buy that? I mean, I've talked to a handful of these guys, and I just don't know if I buy that. There doesn't really seem to be a whole lot of guys where I'm concerned about them jumping ship.
I think the thing is, when the problem about having a poor season and losing a ton of games is that the staff will have changes. So I've never seen a team go 3-9 and say, you know what, let's run it back. Like, that doesn't usually happen, right? Something is going to change, and there are going to be guys who are associated with certain who have relationships on that staff. So if a guy leaves, then you could. It takes time to rebuild that relationship, especially if you don't know who you're going to play for. Because at the end of the day, Hugh Freeze can recruit anybody he wants to, but Hugh Freeze ain't in that room with you every day. Hugh Freeze has to run a whole has to run a whole operation.
You're right. Yep.
So I think that's the way that it could impact it. But they need to win. Like, these guys need to know how it feels to roll Toomer's corner in the SEC game. Like, they don't know how that feels. No, it doesn't matter. Like, who. Like, you beat A&M, you beat New Mexico. How does it feel to beat another SEC team? These guys need to feel that as recruits, and they need to see the electricity that comes along with Auburn when they get up for an SEC game, a game that they may be not favored in, and they go out and then the Auburn magic happens and you go to Toomer's corner and you do all of that. They need to feel that. So I think it's going to be important for Auburn to win some games. I'm not saying it's the end-all, be-all, but I don't think you can get the number 1 class with a 3-9 record. I'm not saying – I mean, I just don't. I don't see it.
Yeah, that'd be insane. If
I don't see Auburn going 3-9 either. But to your point,
I was going to push back on that too. I was going to ask you if you keep saying 3-9. That might be you just saying worst case scenario, which would make sense.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Worst case scenario.
Yeah. Na'eem Offord, the talented 5-star corner commit to Ohio State. I mean, that seems to be now that Deuce Knight has flipped, that seems to be the guy that Auburn fans are most interested in at this point. This family. I think you recently had a family member on your show. What do you think the latest is, and what should Auburn fans' expectations be for Na'eem Offord?
They just got to keep chopping wood. Try to get him back on campus. I think he was really disappointed after the Oklahoma game. I believe it was that Oklahoma.
Think
The
so.
last game he visited, it was either Oklahoma or Arkansas. Maybe it was Arkansas. He
Okay.
popped up to Arkansas, and
Okay.
it was really disappointed, man. When I saw him, Na'eem is usually laughing. It's not been a time I've seen Na'eem. He ain't laughing, playing, joking. He was
Okay.
not laughing, playing, or joking after the Arkansas game. He was really disappointed. He wanted to see Auburn win. Talked to his dad. He was like, man, he want to play for. His dad told me like that day. He said, man, he ain't really happy. He wants to play for a winner. He wanted to see Auburn win.
Yeah.
When you look at his final contenders right now, Oregon and Ohio State, they're both winning at a fairly high clip, and they've probably got the biggest game of the weekend this weekend that he'll be visiting Oregon for,
Right.
and Ohio State as well. And you look at the contender now, a new contender has emerged in Colorado that just kind of came out of nowhere. But I just think that as long as Auburn keeps chopping wood, it shows like even with Jalen Crawford playing, I think that helps Auburn. I think with Jay playing, it helps Auburn by saying that, look, you got somebody who can ball on the other side of you that's young. You know, you come in next year, you can lead. That's a 3-man rotation that, and there's other young guys too. But if you just look at those three, man, like, you talk about youth in the secondary and some other guys that are going to surprise you, because I'm pretty sure that nobody was expecting Jay Crawford to come in and be the guy. So I think by having this youth movement in the secondary, also to talk about a guy like Caleb Harris, right? They've got some familiarity from that Birmingham area. So, yeah, I think there are things that Auburn can sell. They will sell. I think the old school nature of Coach Crime is something that, like, Na'eem is a guy who wants to be coached. And he wants to be coached hard. So that's why he committed Tim Walton at Ohio State.
Makes sense.
So you've got a guy who can give him that old school mentality. And I think that'll be important for Na'eem. And I think it bodes well for Auburn. But, yeah, at this point, Auburn just has to continue to chop wood when it comes to Na'eem Offord. Win a big one and get them back on campus to feel the energy after a win.
Yeah. Hopefully it happens. We'll see.
Yep.
Hey, Phillip Dukes, how can people check out everything you've got going on? Because there's a lot of it.
Social media at Dukes D Scoop, Twitter and Instagram, and the On 3 Recruits channel. My show is called the 5-Star Flex. Just hit a record month in views. I'm about to break that record again. So come by and check out what we got going on.
Yep, it's worth it. It's certainly worth your time. Hey, please like the video. Please subscribe. We'll see you next time. This has been Locked On Auburn.